Hey now. We are live. Hey now. Or at least we should be live. When I'm dual streaming, I'm always a bit nervous about it. I'm about to go check on that right now, actually. Well, we're live. We're going to be playing the Two Towers today. Let me go ahead and take a look at things and make sure everything's kosher here. All right. We're kosher on Twitch. It's like YouTube has made one thing a lot more easy. Oh, darn. And we'll go ahead and get the word out in just a moment. But here we are. It looks like we're kosher on YouTube as well. We're just keeping things kosher. Hey there, Deb. How's it going? You made it early. That's good to see. Why isn't your message showing up in my multi-stream chat? Maybe you sent that before I technically went live? Let me test something. I'm going to type there and see if it shows up in multi-stream chat. It does not. Is my multi-stream chat just broken again? Oh no. Well, that's not that bad. The Twitch chat. Let me test the Twitch chat. Twitch chat works perfectly. Okay. And Twitch shows up on multi-stream, but YouTube doesn't. So it looks like I'll just be looking at the Twitch chat and the YouTube chat separately. Darn. But hey there, Deb. I noticed one really cool thing YouTube-wise, and I'm going to have to change the way that I, before I mentioned it, maybe. It's just, it wasn't working. Like when I go over to multi-stream, oh, now it does. Maybe it's just laggy. It might just be laggy. It seems to be working. Or at least I see my test. I think there's just lag on the multi-stream coming from YouTube. I noticed something, speaking of YouTube, I noticed something interesting was that I've been saying at the start of every video, if you want to submit a question that, you do it through Quora and, hey, Ted, and, but some people don't want to do it through Quora. They don't want to sign up for another website or whatever. And I get that, I get that. And Ted is saying hi to YouTube. Ted is on Twitch. So if you're watching on YouTube, Ted says hi. And I always say they made it where YouTube people can leave posts on my channel to submit questions, but it was only working on mobile. It looks like it finally works on desktop. I actually don't know how long it's been working on desktop, but I noticed just now that it works, which is really cool. Man, it's really cool. So I'll start starting, I guess, with episode 155. We will advertise that it's easier to submit a question via YouTube now than it was before. But, it's like that. If you guys want to hear about ridiculous comment of the week, I've got two of them actually. Both of them are on Quora. I find that people on YouTube are a lot nicer than they are on Quora. But there were two ridiculous things that came through on Quora. One was I used a picture. I don't know. It's in episode 154. This picture that an artist by the name of Idlewild drew of Aragorn, and he's just sort of sitting there, and this fellow by the name of Leland, he was disturbed, but it was the weirdest thing because I thought it was a perfectly good drawing of Aragorn, not like a hyper detailed painting. It's more of a sketch, it's slightly cartoonish, but it's pretty good, That's why I used it. And it was in a question where I was talking specifically about Aragorn's heritage in relation to his lifespan, because there was a question that came through about, hey, if he's Númenórean, why did he only live 210 years? Shouldn't he have lived longer than that? And actually, no, well, he's Númenórean in the way that I'm Roman. And both of the ridiculous comments that I got this week came through on this question. So the one was this guy. He was very upset about the picture I used. He said that it's the worst picture of Aragorn he's ever seen, and that it should be stricken from the internet, and whoever drew it should be put in jail, and all this stuff. And then he went on to say that it reminded him of a Peter Frampton album cover, which he hates the album cover too. And he posted a picture of it. It's this Peter Frampton's album called "I'm in You," which also apparently that album title made him uncomfortable as well. And she's sort of lounging there, clearly just like sort of a seductive pose, and I was thinking, oh, so when you see Aragorn and you think he's trying to seduce you is what I'm thinking, right? So I'm just reading this guy's comment and I'm just like, wow, this guy's putting way more thought into this picture than I did, and certainly I think even more thought into the picture than the person who drew it did. So I said, this has got to be the worst comment I've gotten in a while. And then he said that it reminded him also of Fabio. If you don't know who Fabio is, I think a lot of people know who he is, but if you're a bit younger, he was a model that he posed a lot on book covers, like the romance novels that people would get. A lot of times he was on the cover of those, and even back in the day, some old video games like Iron Sword. He was on the cover of Iron Sword for the old Nintendo. But anyway, I'm like, it's just strange because like he's usually, hey Gray, he's usually he did have a close encounter with a goose. A goose slammed into his face while he was riding on a roller coaster. I remember seeing that on the news. But anyway, he was saying that this picture of Aragorn reminded him of Fabio, who is generally speaking associated with romance and seduction, and also Peter Frampton, specifically on an album cover for a record called "I'm in You," where he's sort of lounging there with his shirt open, trying to look seductive. So I just in the sort of this teasing manner, I said, please tell me more about your amorous dreams about Aragorn and Fabio and Peter Frampton. And I just thought, wow, if somebody just saw just that comment completely out of context without reading everything that came before it, it's ridiculous. You wouldn't even think of those characters, character and two people. Sarah Doodoo, how's it going, Sarah? Thank you for subscribing at tier 2. Oh no, that's tier 1. I'm sorry, but you're on a 63-month streak. Oh, no, you subbed for 2 months? Wait, this is confusing. Did you just do 2 subscriptions at once? Because I thought it said tier 2, but I'm getting 2 different information. One piece of information says that you subscribed at tier 1 for 63 months straight, and that you're on a 3-month streak. But in my activity feed, it says resubscribed for 2 months. At tier 1 on a 63-month streak. Boy, it's confusing. I think that it's I don't know what you just did. It said you subscribed for 2 months. Did you? I'm confused by that. Anyway, thank you for subscribing on Twitch for so long. I was just telling a story about 2 ridiculous comments that I got on Quora. Yeah, you did, but it also says resubscribed for 2 months at tier 1, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, I'm just wondering if you were, I don't know, you might have done 2 months in a row. You might be good for 60 days. Anyway, the other comment was a fellow who it's given me 2 different pieces of information. The activity feed could be mistaken. Thank you either way. This other comment was about Aragorn. So I had made a comment that Aragorn is Númenorian in the same way that I'm Roman. I'm not Roman. Rome fell thousands of years before I was born. I have some ancestry from Italy, which is a country that I've never been to, but it's not the only culture that whose blood I have. It's not even the dominant one. It was just an example of tying my ancestry, which is part Italian, to Rome, and that's sort of what you're doing when you say that Aragorn is Númenorian. Hey, Mogul. He's not Númenorian. Númenor fell like 3,000 years before he was born. 3,500 years, actually. So, he's from Middle-earth. He has Númenorian ancestry. There's a difference. So, and this guy was saying, but he's pure Númenorian. And I'm like, it's kind of impossible for Aragorn to be pure Númenorian, because that would mean that in the 30 generations or so that has happened between Elendil and him, nobody in his family that was in his direct lineage married somebody who was from Middle-earth. And considering that his mother was a lady by the name of Gilrain, considering that she only lived to be 100 years old, which would be very young for a Númenorian, even if they were in, Middle-earth and quite diminished. Faramir, for example, lived to be 120. If you think that's close, it's not. It's 20 years apart, It's just strange, like I have to believe it's literally impossible, especially since he's from Arnor in the north, and Arnor, they didn't practice intermarriage with people from Middle-earth nearly as much as they did in Gondor, for example, but they had to have done it somewhat, otherwise, they had too low of a population. But anyway, and this guy was saying, but here's this passage where Tolkien says that Aragorn is, of the blood of the West unmingled. And I'm like, yeah, but it's just kind of literally impossible. And he's just like, you're saying you're no better than Tolkien? And I'm like, in matter of genetics, yes, but he's also not being literal. Like, he's not, first of all, it's not Tolkien saying it, it's Aragorn saying it. There's a big difference there. And, that actually scared me. I'm getting raided by Just Jibby. How are you doing today? Welcome into the stream. Welcome in. We've got a Tsundari. How is it going? Let me just finish what I was saying, and then I will fully address the raiders. You just caught me at the beginning of stream here. So... Hey, WT, and did you come in on the raid? How's it going? You made them do it. Okay, thank you, WT, thank you. So anyway, what I was getting at was, yes, Aragorn said that he was, his blood from Númenor was unmingled, but also Gandalf had said that Denethor was 100% Númenorian. And Faramir was 100% Númenorian, but Boromir was not. Oh, that doesn't make any sense from the perspective of genetics. So it's clearly a metaphor. WT and the I made them do it dancers. Well, tell me about your stream and what you were doing. Right now, we're about to play The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, specifically the Game Boy version, which is nothing like the console version. The console version is sort of this hack and slash game. Could you get rid of that guy, Mogul? It is hack and slash game that is just very actiony and based off of the movies. Well, this is based off of the movie as well, but it's more like Diablo, actually. Thank you, Mogul. Or whoever that was. I don't have the feed in front of me. Oh, I do have the feed in front of me. What am I thinking? There it is. Thank you, Moogle. But anyway, to introduce yourself, my name is John Sierra. I'm a Tolkien scholar. Sometimes I go by the name NecroVMX as well, but on Thursdays here, it's John Sierra, Tolkien scholar. And yeah, we're going to do this. Let's get into it right now, actually. Let's head over here. And let me get... I don't know where I am in this game. I know we're still doing Aragorn's playthrough. I need game audio as well. Let's get the game audio going. There we go. Moogles are cool, and Moog he's the Mooglest of the Moogles. He is the Lord of the Moogles. He's the master of the Moogles. Okay, let's get this going. Where's my controller? There it is. And it's not even turned on. Let's turn that on. You're playing some demos. Oh, okay. I've never seen this one much either. This is the first time that I'm playing through this game. I'm enjoying it greatly, and since I am a Tolkien scholar, it's fun to play through it. Oh, we're at... Hold on. Where am I? Okay. Oh, I'm in Edoras. Oh. When did we get to Edoras? I feel like... Okay, let's see. There's some money laying around, a padded shirt. I have better armor than that. Actually, I should look at my equipment, shouldn't I? I feel like I should look at my equipment. So let's see. So we have the gold lace cloak, the moon-ruined pot helm. Now, which, by the way, interesting when we talk about moon-ruined pot helm, it sounds very strange to say that, but there is a mention of moon runes specifically in The Hobbit, actually, which means that they are runes that would only show up in... Pot mentioned, exactly. They would only show up in the moonlight. It's sort of like invisible ink, where you would have to... Oh, you have carpal tunnel, Deb? I'm sorry to hear that. I know somebody who has tarsal tunnel and is pretty awful. Carpal tunnel, probably worse because you have to use your hands a lot more. So the moon rune would be something that would only be visible in the moonlight, or possibly only visible under a specific phase of the moon. We have jeweled amulet, elven mottled flambird. I don't know why it would be mottled, but well, it's really good. A scale mail, and I also have a common whetstone and a crusader sandals. All right. Oh wait, hold on. Oh wait, is that a two-handed sword? Yeah, carpal tunnel's pretty awful. Yeah, that's a two-handed sword. Okay. I think it's worth it. Why can't I pick up the gems? Oh, there we go. Probably because I have to press the R button to do it. So I don't remember where we really left off, but apparently we're in Edoras. And, oh, okay, here's Eowyn. My uncle said you fought beside my grandfather once, but that cannot be so. This is a fun conversation that only happened in the film. And I think it was because in the film, we see Viggo Mortensen, you know, and we think of Aragorn as being the age that Viggo Mortensen was at the time, which I think he was in his 40s. And Aragorn is not. He's at this point in the story, he is 88 years old. He says 87 in the film. And I'm not going to say that they 100% got that wrong, because it's understandable for Aragorn to have forgotten that his birthday had just passed a little while ago. His birthday was actually the same day that he met Gandalf the White in the forest. So that was, I think it was March 1st. So that's his birthday. And so he might have let that slip his mind. He's got a lot else going on his mind. So they did this scene to sort of like demonstrate how old Aragorn is. And we were just talking about Aragorn's Númenórean ancestry. The first king of Númenor, Elros Tar-Miniatur, he lived to be 500 years old. Now it's diminished since then because his sons didn't live that long. They lived to be 400 somewhat, you know? Sarah, just keep in mind on Thursdays when I'm doing YouTube, just keep the language PG-13. And I know you kind of are, but I'm just saying, just for going forward. But anyway, you know, Aragorn, he's middle-aged. He's young middle-aged. He's gonna live to be 210 years old, you know? Yeah, do it like The Good Place. There you go. Oh, shirt. So she's saying, you know, her uncle being, of course, Theoden, and her grandfather not being her father's father or her mother. She's talking about, well, I guess it is her mother's father, because it's her mother is Theoden's brother. By the way, Theoden You kind of like Azog the Defiler. I'll talk about Azog in just a moment if you'd like me to. But anyway, interesting fact about Theoden and about his relationship with Éowyn. Éowyn's his niece. Her mother was Éowyn. And she is, not only is she Theoden's younger sister, she's the youngest of 4 sisters. I think 3 or 4 sisters. He had a whole bunch of sisters. She's the youngest one. So he's the oldest of a big family. And now he's saying that, you know, Aragorn fought with his father, whose name was not Eamund. That was her father's name. Thengel. So she's like, wow, you must be older than you look. And, you know, and of course, Viggo Mortensen just pouring on the charm as he says he's 87 years old, which in the book was 88, only because his birthday was just like very recent. Azog the Defiler, interesting character. They got him wrong in a lot of ways in the film. Partly because he shouldn't have been in The Hobbit because he was already dead at that point. His son, Bolg, who was in the film, he should have been like the main orc there. Do you think Aragorn ever got arthritis? Probably when he got older, like maybe around the year when he was around 180 years old or so, he started getting a little arthritis. But Aragorn also is really fit and takes care of himself, so maybe it wouldn't be so bad. But Azog also, he wasn't nearly as nasty as he could have been. Azog in the book was a really nasty character. The story was that the dwarves are trying to retake Moria, and they went in, and Azog cut the head off of one of the dwarves and carved his name into the dwarf's forehead and then just tossed it out at the other guy that was with him. They were just a scouting party, and it led to this big battle, which was in the backstory of the Hobbit that they kept referencing, both in the book and in the movie. Why they had Azog there instead of Bolg, which was his son, and Bolg was in the book, so it made perfect sense for Bolg to be in the film, but it made no sense for Azog to be there. But, actually, you're probably right, Sarah, but probably not the pipeweed. I got to talk about so much stuff now because of Chad, and I think we're going to enjoy this. We're going to have fun today. The pipeweed is from Numenor, so it is highly ingrained in his culture. And in Numenor, it was called Westman's weed, and it was basically used as a potpourri. It was just something that they thought smelled nice. And it wasn't until they came to Middle-earth, and Isildur brought it, and then the hobbits got a hold of it. They started figuring out to smoke it because it is a flowering, a flowering nightshade plant, which makes it tobacco. And specifically a Nicotiana strain of tobacco, according to Tolkien. But anyway, the herb that he probably used to ease his joint pain was something called Ethelis, or King's Foil, which is what he used a bunch of times to heal people. And considering that Aragorn is one of the best healers in Middle-earth, you're probably right. He probably did use not that specific herb, but he definitely used herbs. All right. King Theoden has a good memory. He was but a child then. But that would make you 70? 80? 87, actually. We could forgive him for having forgotten his 88th birthday was a few days ago. You are one of the Dunedain, an ancient race blessed with long life. I thought your people had passed into legend. Sort of a strange thing for her to say. Now, this is a movie mistake. This game is based on the film. Weird thing for her to say. Why would she think the Dunedain had passed into legend when there's a whole country of them just to the south? I'm talking about Gondor. Rohan is just like, it was once just sort of the northwest province of Gondor. It was called Calenarthon. Gondor gave it to the people known as the Eothia. They started calling themselves the Rohirrim. It's a whole thing. But she knows about Denethor. She knows about his sons Boromir and Faramir. People come and go from Gondor all the time. So it's a weird thing for her to say. There are a few of us. I guess in the films, there there were still plenty of them. Everybody that's in Gondor is at least part Dunedain, and Denethor specifically, as a noble, him and his sons are like almost completely pure Dunedain. Here's Legolas. Outergorn, we're ready to make for Helm's Deep. Gandalf is already gone, but I want to break all the crates and get that treasure box. I am leading the refugees there by a safer route. Okay, I can still do this, right? Okay. Money? Okay. The music here reminds me of, like Chrono Cross almost, right? That's just strange. Alright. Monkey Super Limp, that's fine. Thank you for coming by. There's some food there. Now, I love the tapestries. The red one just being a sword that looks like it's actually in the sky with the sun above it. Might be... It's weird for it to be here in Rohan. But this might be a reference, actually, to Anarion. This is definitely a more Rohan sort of design with the horse, because Rohan is what the country's called in the Gondor language, in Gondor Sindarin. It means horse country. They call it Riddermark, which is actually Old English. It means the mark of the riders. So their horses are so ingrained in their culture. Here's Gimli. Can I talk to him? Oh, that's the spell button. I shouldn't be hitting that. Who is that supposed to be? Wait a minute. If Eowyn's over here with Legolas, and there's Gimli, who is this? I guess that could be Theoden. I can't actually walk up the steps for some reason. I might be finished here, but let me go ahead and see if there's anything else to find. I'm guessing I just talked to Legolas to move on. Oh, or I just walk out the door. Outergorn, wargs and orcs have been spotted patrolling this road. Yeah, they really did a great job with this. They really did a great job with this game. Now, I played the PlayStation 2 version, and I thought that was very fun, but I think this is the better game out of the two. And wild men. We'll need to clear the way to ensure safe passage. Now, the wild men that they were referring to are not really wild men. This is just Gimli speaking improperly. The wild men of the area would be a group of people, an indigenous tribe known as the Druidan, also known as the Woses, which means wild men. But what they're talking about is Dunlendings, men from Dunland, which is a country that's between Rohan and the Shire. And Saruman has them all fooled. Spread out, don't let anything get by. Alright, well. Let's, oh, okay, here comes the orcs. Okay. I don't really need boots, but I'll take the Aethelis. Oh, we got Crabine. Whole lot of Crabine. Yeah, the Game Boy Advance was a pretty, technically very, impressive thing. Alright. Just a whole lot of Urukai right here. Alright. The pot helmet I have is way better than that. Scale mail? I don't know. What I'm using is... I'm using scale mail, so I certainly don't need that. Oh yeah, Street Fighter Alpha 3 was on the Game Boy Advance. I didn't own that version. I owned it on the PSP, which was a really fun version. Which you could now play on any console now. Just making sure I'm not missing anything here. It does appear that we're heading north, and we learned that the cardinal directions in this game are a little bit skewed. Is that sometimes you're heading, it looks like you're heading up, which should be north, but you're really heading in a different direction. If we're thinking about where we're coming from and where we're coming from Meadowsilt, we're heading to Helm's Deep, so we're sort of heading mostly west, a little west by northwest. Basically. I love the music in this game, too. Yeah, those wild barrels. Would you think there would be wild barrels scattered across the... Oh, God. Scattered across the plains of the Mark? Maybe not, but it's a video game. Wow, okay, those guys do a lot of damage. Can I get this axe? I don't know, do I want this axe? I think I've learned that he can't actually use axes. He certainly can't use the bow that I had, and I couldn't figure out a way to maybe give it to Legolas. But, yeah, you see, he can't use it. That would be something that Gimli would probably use. But then again, all the other characters are playable. Your Game Boy Advance is basically a Pokemon machine, so you didn't really get many. I mean, you know, I understand that. I Pokemon fan myself. Even played competitively a little bit during the Sun Moon era. But, yeah. The Game Boy Advance was a rich toy box filled with many great things. I need to... There we go. Alright. I should also see what level am I and how close am I to... Oh, that's not the button I want. Let's see. Oh, I actually have some points to spend, huh? Yeah. Alright. Looks like I did recently level and I've never done it. I'm level 14. I want to put a little bit more into defense. And I'm going to put a point into courage as well. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to put it into health, because health is kind of low. I absolutely would have adored this game. Unfortunately, wow, okay. I didn't have any Tolkien games during this period. Is that a kill coin in the bottom left hand of the menu screen? Let me see something. Oh, that's not it. Let's see. Let's bring that up. I think you're talking about here. Yeah, it is. That's how many orcs you've killed, which is a lot. That's a massacre there. It's sort of a... honestly, I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's kind of obscene, right? It's like this severed orc head with the tongue lolling out. Sort of obscene. Not the biggest fan of that in terms of, I think Tolkien would hate that. I'm waiting to be able to heal here. Orc pork sandwiches, exactly. There we go. Alright. Yeah, murder. This game does have kind of a bizarre morality system regarding around which skills you use. There are skills that are considered corrupt and skills that are not considered corrupt. And a whole corruption mechanic that I've not been messing with very much because I just mainly use healing stuff. Lamellar. Wait, hold on. Oh god, the Urkhire. Oh, and I'm dead. That's great. Thankfully, when you die, you don't lose a lot of progress, really. But yeah, you can see the skills here. Like, it'll tell you which ones are corrupt. Although I'm not seeing any corrupt ones there, but... yeah, this one lessens corruption. It reminds you of the orc head on the pike where the Merry and Pippin escape when they show up looking for them in the movie. That's probably the exact graphic that they use, I would say. That's because it's so similar that I would say that's definitely it. But yeah, thankfully you don't lose a lot of progress when you get killed in this. I gotta be careful because I've been taking a lot of damage. I really just need to get some better armor. I think that's a wild man there. A soldier sword. I don't know if I would want that or not. Let me get rid of some of this equipment that's not so great. Pick up at least one of these soldier swords and see what the stats are. That's terrible. Okay. Everybody talks about Viggo breaking his toe in that scene. And not enough people talk about the fact that he almost died filming the Fellowship of the Ring. When that one big Uruk-hai Lurtz threw the dagger at his face, and he deflected it with the sword. That was real. The actor playing Lurtz was supposed to miss. And he miscalculated, which mistakes do happen, and accidentally threw it directly at Viggo's face. And thankfully his reflexes sort of kicked in, and he knocked it away with the sword. Let's see if that heavy cloak's anything I would want. I mean, I don't think it's going to be better than that. It's 1 melee, 1 missile, 3 defense. Yeah, no, this is 1 melee, 1 missile, 2 defense, and 3 courage, so I think I'll stick to what I have. This area is a little dangerous, so I'm going to have to be very careful about my movements. Okay. It's a wild story. So I was doing a podcast once. Oh, the crib mine. I was doing a podcast once, not a Tolkien one, but I do talk about Tolkien sometimes on it. And we were reviewing a list specifically about movie moments like that were not scripted, that just sort of wound up being in the film. And one of them was, Viggo breaking his foot in the Two Towers, and I'm surprised nobody ever talks about the other one. Olympus bread. Alright, here we go. Alright. Yeah, I don't so much like the orc kill count, but I guess it plays into... I mean, it's not that Tolkien didn't know that people do those sort of things. He had, after all, Legolas and Gimli have a contest to see who could kill the most orcs. But I think... Well, I just think that video games in general would probably horrify him. You know what I mean? It was a good list critic prompt, I thought, yeah. Another one that they didn't include, which involves an actor from The Lord of the Rings, because it's... Oh, God, because the movie is Alien, and Ian Holm was in that. Was the famous chestburster scene. Obviously, that was scripted. Well, I can't use a shield right now anyway, but for when I can use it... Oh, that's terrible. Alright. I gotta wait for my magic to fill up here. But most of the cast were not aware that the chestburster alien was going to come out of the chest, and all it said was the creature appears, right? So they didn't know what that meant, so it was all a big surprise. So a lot of the shocked reactions from the actors in that scene were very real. Wait, why did I just use that shout? I thought I was on healing. Yeah, I thought I was on herbal remedy. Oh, I think I might have swapped off. Yeah, those are all the different skills. This is the one I want. When I was trying to figure something out, Alright, well, I'm mostly healed now. Let's make a little bit of a save here so that I don't have to worry about this. Gray, calm down. YouTube stream. Yeah, the guys around here do a lot of damage. Oh boy. Oh, that's not good. Alright, you can't just Diablo mash. I gotta actually use some tactics. I think that guy's stuck. His friend figured it out. Oh boy. Really bad. Yikes. Oh, the Goonies. Yeah, they didn't let the kids see the set. I remember. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, I'm just letting his mana replenish so I could not die. This is the first area that's kind of like really seriously challenging. We had that one area where there was a lot of Urukai, but I wasn't getting chunked quite as much as I am right now. There we go. All right, now we're gonna save it as well. You have the difficulty spike has happened. All right. Okay. Get some money. Oh. A choker? I don't need a choker. Oh, I believe this would be, this is a reference to where Éomer had burned the bodies, although this is happening later in the narrative than it would have in the movie or the book. But I believe that might be what the reference is. Exquisite coif. Fine yellow estoc. Hold on. We're finding some good things. The exquisite coif is 1 melee, 9 critical? This is 1 melee, 1 missile, 12 critical, so that's not as good. But what about the weapon? 5 to 11, less courage? Not as good. I have an 8 to 16. I'm just going to sort of zigzag across so I don't miss anything. Oh, look what we have here. That's a free heal. Alright. This looks like the end of the screen, so I just gotta find where we proceed. Maybe through here? No? It looks like the road is here, so this is probably it. There we go. Save it again. These guys got shields, but they can't do much. So strange that so many of these Urukai are using these sort of very bizarre shaped swords that are, generally speaking, those are like what executioner swords would look like. Not very good for combat because you can't really thrust with them. They're designed for hacking. And obviously you would want a weapon that could... That's that cape. That could do multiple sort of things. Any Crabine here? Oh, watch out. Takes skill to load a crossbow that quick. Well, it could be a repeating sort of crossbow. We're halfway to another level up, though. I don't believe that ring mail is going to be anything good. 6 melee, 3 missile. Not nearly as good as what I have. Not nearly as good. I'm gonna have to see what that medallion is. Let's see what that is. Oh, that's terrible. It's just the smallest possible boost to damage that you could possibly have. You don't see the regular orcs all that often around here, but it's nice to see that they're still around. Alright. Where in Middle-earth am I supposed to be right now? I mean, obviously Rohan, but it's just strange that there's like a river here. Of course there are orc women, yes. He was actually specific about it due to the fact that he said that orc reproduction happens after the manner of the children of Iluvatar, which is to say that they breed the same way that elves and men breed. So they absolutely mate and get pregnant and have babies and all that stuff. Don't really know if they practice anything akin to marriage. I'm going to guess not. They're probably not very monogamous. Oh, Warg Rider. My take on it has always been that there's no reason to believe the Ruby Kingsword. We got a legendary weapon here. Let me see if I can pick that up. There's no reason to believe that any given orc might be a lady orc, because I don't think you'd be able to tell the difference all that well. 6 to 12 damage, and it gives me 5 strength. This is 8 to 16 damage. And it gives me extra accuracy and defense. So even though that's a magnificent weapon and it is unique, the Ruby Kingsword, not going to use it. I'll keep it, but I won't actually use it. But yeah, I mean, there are a few rivers in Rohan, but... Hold on. Let's look at the map. It seems that I should really just look at the map at this point, right? Okay, well, here's the map of Rohan. So... We're going from... we started in Edoras, and we're going towards Helm's Deep. So that's likely the Entwade, which is tributary to the Entwash. Let me see if I can get the more broad map of Middle-earth. That might be more useful to me. No, it can't be the Entwade. That's too far to the east. It's a very small stream. It just doesn't make sense for there to be a river there. Well, the Silmarillion is really weird about it, and I'll tell you, it says that around the same time that some of the earliest elves were going missing because Melkor was kidnapping them and taking them and torturing them, that's around when the orcs started to appear, and that many of the wise believed that those first orcs were originally elves. Tolkien later said that was not actually true. It's just what some elves believed, and that he went through a few different versions of what exactly orcs were, but the one that he was on when he died, I'm not saying that he definitely settled on it, but the origin that he was on when he died was that they were actually animal derived, but they were made in mockery of the elves. So basically that Melkor used necromancy to take some existing animals and to make them bigger and larger and to give them the gift of speech in this sort of feigned mockery of intelligence and will, to mock the elves that were created by God. Now, what's really interesting, though, is that was thousands and thousands of years ago. So nobody's out there turning elves into orcs at this point. The orcs do live pretty long. We were talking about Azog and Bolg earlier, and the fact that Azog died when he died means that when Bolg dies in The Hobbit, he's probably around 140 years old or so. But what it really comes down to is that we really don't know exactly what the deal with orcs are. He was mostly struggling with the morality aspect of an entire race that's always evil. I think that's Lembas bread. I don't know why the orcs would have it, but sort of very strange, right? The book that could give you, I think, the most information about Tolkien's thoughts on orcs and their origins is this book right here. Let me go to a different screen so I can hold it up and you can actually see it. This book right here, which is called The Nature of Middle-earth, it only actually came out a few years ago, but it has a lot of his definitive writings on a lot of little subjects. I'll just give you like a smattering of subject. It's basically a series of essays. Part 1 is time and aging, and you have things like the Valiant Year and time scales and the aging of elves and generational schemes and stuff like that. And the second part is body, mind, and spirit, and you have his thoughts on beauty and goodness, gender and sex, hair, beards, the Osanwa Kenta. I've spoken about that a lot. That's the mind reading. Fate and free will, spirit, death, that sort of stuff. And then the third section is the world, its lands, and its inhabitants. And that's where the biggest sort of section talks about elvish journeys on horseback and the founding of Nargothrond and dwellings in Middle-earth and dwarvish voices and that sort of thing. So I highly recommend it. It's a fascinating book, and that's where it has like sort of a lot of his notes and thoughts and really struggles on, hey kits, on what exactly are the orcs, where are they from, what is the whole deal there. We know Melkor made them, but how did he do it? And that's not where I'm going. Where is... I gotta find the right screen now. Here we are. So, highly recommend that. Alright. Is there anything over here? Probably not. Oh no, look. Look. Oh. That is one big urukai. Alright, we got him. How's it going, kids? Like I said, I do want to make sure that I zigzag across... Oh, another Warg Rider! Zigzag across the screen so that I can be sure that I'm not missing anything. More Crabine. Another Warg Rider. Now, it looks like I did miss something down there, because this is interesting. As a glasses wearer yourself, you also wonder if anyone in Middle-earth figured out eyewear prescriptions. No one in the movies wears them. Interesting. This is a discussion that I've had with Matt and Sid, and I've had it with other people. Glasses are not something that are ever mentioned. However, just because something isn't mentioned doesn't mean that it can't conceivably exist. And I looked up sort of like the history of eyewear and basically ocular prosthetics, because that's what glasses really are. And my thought is that an elvish craftsman certainly would be able to, yes. However, would they need to? Do their eyesight ever diminish? I'm going to say no. Because in the nature of them being immortal, I would say it's highly unlikely that they would ever have diminished eyesight. However, it would happen to men and dwarves and hobbits. I think dwarves would be able to make them too, by the way. I think that what you'd be most likely to see are probably not eyeglasses like what I'm wearing here and like what you're likely wearing, but probably something more akin to spectacles that you would wear on a chain and just hold them up. They probably wouldn't have like prescriptions. They would probably all be the same basic thing. Or perhaps a monocle. Those might exist in Middle-earth. I like to believe that Bilbo would need something like that, you know, when he's really old and living in Rivendell, but yeah, there's a wall here. Okay, I know where I am now in terms of the map, at least. Actually, isn't there a way to just look at the map? Hold on, I think there is from over here, right? Yeah, we're at the Gap of Rohan, which... I mean, the Gap of Rohan doesn't make a lot of sense, but okay. The Gap of Rohan is a little bit beyond Helm's Deep. If we're at the Gap of Rohan, we've gone past Helm's Deep, right? We've gone past it. What about injury from battle? Well, when you're talking about your eyes being injured, those sort of things don't typically diminish your eyesight. You either just completely go blind or you don't. But they have great healers. Like Elrond could probably heal any sort of eye injury that's not... Oh, there's a free heal right there. Any sort of injury that's not going to completely destroy your eye, he would probably be able to heal. What is... Oh, fruit. I can almost believe orcs would be carrying fruit around, more so than Lembas. Yeah, I feel like glasses are not out of the question. It's one of those things that just because Tolkien never mentioned it doesn't mean it's not something that can happen. This guy's... I'm playing Diablo and he's playing Street Fighter. Come here. Well, I don't really want the mantle, but... Oh, well. It didn't hurt that much. These boots were made for walking. Let's save it here. I forgot sometimes that the treasure chests explode on you. Yet we have to remember that he was writing something that was meant to be fake history. And that doesn't mean that it needs to jibe with real history, you know? Well, it looks like something you'd be able to smash up, but apparently not. Whoa, that's a very red... That's like, oh god, it's like the beginning of that one Dracula movie, and I'm dead. Well, we just spawned into this area, so... The Dracula movie from the early 90s, that weird meat armor, that's what I was thinking of there. Alright, this guy's clearly very dangerous. Yeesh. Rusted small shield. I'll take that, though. Oh, wargs. Even the name warg is a fascinating sort of linguistic study on the Old Norse words for wolf. There's multiple words. Yes, the Gary Oldman film. One of my favorite movies, by the way. Love that movie. It's so over the top and ridiculous, but in the best way. So warg is derived from vargr, which means wolf. Hey, Almighty Santa. But there's also ulver, which also means wolf. By the way, Ulver, one of my favorite bands, Ulver, means wolves. But anyway, vargr is more metaphorical of being a wolf in terms of a person being a wolf, like a criminal, sort of nefarious sort of person, you know. And considering the role of wolves as parables in many Germanic fairy stories, it makes perfect sense for him to use warg to refer to a specific breed of wolves that he refers to in his letters as demonic. Getting close to a level up here. Whoa, okay, just immediately took that guy down. What are the gruesome sound effects in this? I don't want the shoes. Yeah, the Gap of Rohan doesn't make sense in the sense that if we were going from Metacell to Helm's Deep and we're at the Gap of Rohan, we've already... Oh god. We've already passed Helm's Deep. But that's okay. Where did that guy go? Oh no. That dangerous red guy vanished. Oh, here he is. Oh no. Oh, we got it. Okay. I don't don't want the hood, but I wanted to see what that other thing is. Maybe make some room in the inventory. Well, they are referred to as wild wolves as well. They're called wild wolves as well as wargs. But there are just regular wolves as well. And there are werewolves as well. There are werewolves, which are non-lycanthropic werewolves, but werewolves nonetheless. So, like a wolf, obviously, you know what a wolf is, just like a regular wolf, right? But then we have the werewolves, which are inhabited by fell spirits of men. And then we have the wargs, which are explicitly stated, at least in his letters, to be demonic. So, he put a lot of thought into wolves in Middle-earth and the different types. Wait, how did I wind up on that other skill there? It's my error. There we go. You've met a couple of vampires in your time. You're still waiting to... It happened again. Still waiting to meet a werewolf. Well, there are vampires in Middle-earth, although... they haven't been seen since the First Age, so by the time the Lord of the Rings happens, it's possible that they're extinct. But his werewolves were very based off of the sort of Malaysian early, like some of the earliest vampire myths. I did a deep dive on it not super long ago. Especially in the sense that they're almost always ladies. He only mentions one named character that's a vampire, and that's Turingwithil. And she was Sauron's messenger in the First Age. But, hey, we leveled up. I'm getting bottlenecked like crazy here, so that's good. Alright, I was thinking... Wait, hold on. I might go into the passive stuff. Alright, I'm going to put it into ferocity. Ferocity is almost like a blood magic sort of thing. I definitely want to put it into health and defense, because that's where I'm struggling right now. You can see orcs riding foxes into battle, probably because foxes are way too small to ride. Yes, Lilith. Lilith is another example. Hold on, I'll bring up the article. Lilith is one of the other examples I brought up. And the Torah demon Lilith is sort of like the archetypical, or I should say prototypical vampire. Let's see. Alright, let me go to my, let me find it. I wrote an article about this. It was not super long ago. Maybe a month or two ago. Quora search is very bad, but I'm just going to search vampire and see what comes up. That's 3 years ago, so wait, we can now do most recent. Okay, here it is. Okay, so this is an article I wrote in, well, actually in March, so 2 months ago. And I was asked, who asked me this? Does it say? It doesn't say, unfortunately. But somebody asked me, what made Turingwithil a vampire? All we ever hear about her is her resemblance to a bat and Luthien being able to use disguise. So, I'm just going to read it to you real quick. Tolkien is going on the fact that vampire means a lot of different things in ancient folklore. Turingwithil is the only named vampire and the one that is mentioned to be Sauron's personal messenger. Luthien did indeed disguise herself as Turingwithil to get past Morgoth's defenses, just as Beren disguised himself as Dragluin, the werewolf. Sauron also could take the form of a vampire. He's the only, male vampire that we hear of. And could fly in this form, and he flew off with blood dripping from him onto the trees. As to what made Turingwithil a vampire, it is most likely the association with bats, but also she may very well have drank blood. Some of the earliest vampire myths are about any sort of demon or minor god that drank blood, such as the Egyptian Sekhmet, the Greek Lamia or Lilith from Jewish folklore. A lot of them also preyed on children exclusively, and if you notice, they're all ladies. A slightly later example of mostly female proto-vampires were the Manangal, Philippine, I said Malaysian, but it's Philippine, that's what I was thinking of earlier. Philippine demons that had bat wings, fangs, and claws. They didn't go after children and babies as much as they went after pregnant women, but they would actually suck the blood from the fetus, so you could still see that in them. Of course, male vampires eventually showed up in a mostly romance fiction European character. John Polidori wrote the story The Vampire that laid out a lot of the common European myth of them being the undead, as it involves a woman's husband being killed and then returning to life as a blood-sucking ghoul. That was in 1816, and a few decades later, Varney the Vampire, also known as the Feast of Blood, showed up, giving us a less romantic and more pulp fiction sort of vampire. Together they gave us the blueprint for Dracula, an allegory of the author's unromantic feelings and commentary on Victorian prudence. Tolkien drew from the older form of vampire, demonic and usually female, though of course Sauron could take that form as well. Note that there is a commonality also seen in Gollum, who drinks blood and preys on babies. Gandalf's chilling description is almost straight out of these early myths. The woodman said there was some new terror abroad, a ghost that drank blood. It climbed trees to find nests. It crept into holes to find the young. It slipped through windows to find cradles. The linguistics of Turin-Withil's name is that of Turin in Sindarin is secret and Gwath is shadow, and the ill is the feminine suffix, so we get in the Silmarillion index woman of secret shadow. The character was a holdover from the earlier Lay of Leithian. However, she was not a character in this version, but rather it was the name that Luthien, then called Tinuviel, took when she wore a dark cloak of shadows and gave herself bat form. I'm not going to read the stanza there, but the idea of Turin-Withil just being a name that Luthien used when she disguised herself as a bat-like form carried over to the tale of Tinuviel. The first hint of vampires as separate creatures came from the Lays of Beleriand, in which Sauron took this form. The association of bats with... you know what? It's too long to read the rest of it, but I'll put the link in there. I forgot how... I said it was a deep dive, and still I sat there trying to read it. So that's my fault. Let me just put the... I'm going to put the link into both chats. You thought vampires are a myth related to parasites? Well, I mean, it became that after some point, but it started with evil gods that drank blood or demonic creatures, and then later romance fiction and sort of petty, dreadful pulp fiction sort of things. I did a lot of research for that article, so figure. Since you thought, since WT, it's your fault. In a good way. Well, thank you, Narva. Wait, hold on, I can't see Twitch chat. Well, blended chat. There we go, that's better. I can see the blended chat now. Ancient kite shield? I mean, if I ever get a good one-handed weapon, that's the ancient kite shield is bound to be better than the... It's got a green name there, yeah. Better than the regular kite shield that I have. Oh, another one of these red guys. There we go. I put so much into interrupting attacks, you know? Do enough J.R.R. Tolkien knew Vlad the Impaler was? Of course he did. Of course he knew it. I mean, he would have read Dracula. It was a Victorian novel, you know, written by someone, you know, was not. It's often associated with the File of Galadriel. Wait a minute, I just found the File of Galadriel drop from an orc. That makes no sense. Let's pick that up and see what that's all about. +3 to resist ring. Oh, so that's an item for Frodo that somehow spawned here. Well, I can't... Actually, the file resisting ring, as in the effects of the One Ring, makes perfect sense considering the scene where the Witch King sort of almost had him and he went to grab the ring, but he grabbed the file instead. That is genuinely funny, yes. But yeah, he would have read Dracula. There's no doubt in my mind he would have read Bram Stoker, even though, you know, like I said, it's often associated with England because a lot of the novel takes place in London, but the author was, of course, Irish. The File of Galadriel just being a random drop from a Uruk-hai in Rohan is wild. Then again, if you think about it, there's no reason to believe that there's only one File of Galadriel. She might have made others. This is a bad sort of situation. Oh, he got out of there, huh? And I'm having a bit of an easier time after that level up, too. You got an ugly email. Oh, no. It's not... Doesn't sound good. Oh. Okay. So fire you gotta put up. Okay, I can get a skill point or an attribute point, but really I just want to sell a few of these things first. What would I get for the Phial of Galadriel? 300 gems. I don't know if you can carry over items to other people's campaigns, so I'm going to hold on to that. Cheap-tempered. I'm going to keep the Elf Lord's bow as well. I guess I accidentally dropped the other thing. Galadriel's vial is a well-known trademark. Yeah. I'm going to take a skill point. I could put it into the parry, yeah. Always be parrying. You thought JP stood for Johann Petrovic. It was actually just parry. Imagine if in the books the Fellowship had a shared inventory. That would have made things a lot easier for Frodo and Sam. Right? A lot easier. There was another, yeah, a third log. Cheap leather jacket. His leather jacket had chains that would jingle. Whoa, that guy was pretending to be dead. They both met movie stars, partied and mingled. Posing as a corpse in a war situation to avoid detection is something that you can do that's okay. But if you do it specifically to attack somebody from behind, it's considered a war crime. So it makes perfect sense that orcs would do that. Well, they would... You see, it wouldn't work for the ring. Because then everybody would have the temptation and it could reach out to everybody, so that would be bad. But where it would be good would be just like with food and provisions, because that was a major concern for Frodo and Sam, especially in The Return of the King. Some Athelas. Okay. Oh! I brought the whole gang out here. Actually, if I see any sort of dead body that isn't part of the scenery, I have to assume it's going to get up, because the enemies you kill, they fade away after just a few seconds. So wait. See? Already gone. Already gone. Yeah. Oh, and there was King's Foil there, so I didn't need to use mana. And mushrooms now. I don't know how long those things stick around, but... Yeah, honestly, if you just showed me just the map here and said what part of Middle-earth is this, I would guess Ithilien, not Rohan. Let's see if these things are still around. Oh, now I can't even find where it was. Wow, that's the definition of shared, right? But yeah, I think, oh, here we are. I think in relation to, like, if they had a shared inventory, like, you know, like a magic bag like that, it would be the most useful for, I think, oh, it's raining, supplying Frodo and Sam with fresh water and food, you know. Legolas could just be constantly tossing them apples, you know. It wasn't raining in the scene in the film, I don't believe. Ooh. So we got to be getting close to that part where he falls off the cliff, right? Oh, what was that? The delicious salted pork from Isengard. Funny way of saying bacon, right? What do we have here? Hand and a half sword? I don't need that. Alright, the music has changed. Where am I now? Oh, that's not the inventory. That was the inventory. It's not the screen I should be looking at. Alright, we have arrived at Helm's Deep. Okay, so Oh, I see. So they skipped the part where he falls off the cliff, I guess. So this is why we were at the Gap of Rohan. We took a very roundabout way, because if we think about this, we're basically, even though this is showing it us on the right side of the screen, if you think about it, we're sort of approaching from the northwest. Which means that it makes sense that we're in the Gap of Rohan. It just doesn't make sense why we would have gone on such a circuitous route, going from Meduseld all the way up to the Gap of Rohan and then sort of circling back to Helm's Deep. So, yeah. That's interesting. Save it. And now the orgs are carrying Lembas bread. Of all things. Maybe that was taking place after... Maybe all of that was after he fell down the cliff. And they didn't depict that. And then he got washed away upstream, you know? Like, well, downstream, really. And that's why he's approaching Helm's Deep from such a bizarre angle. I'm not actually sure which direction I should be going, so let me just stand still for a little while. Okay, it wants me to go that way. Alright. So for zigzagging, we'll be going up and down. Oh, is that Haldir? Hail, Aragorn. You arrived just in time. Vast armies of orcs are approaching from the northeast. I think this is just supposed to be some generic guy. I don't think he's... I would think that just based on the sprite, I thought it might have been Haldir. Everyone's favorite game, Orcs and Ladders. I could see Gollum coming up with a board game called Orcs and Ladders. When the last person enters the Hornburg, barricade this door. Yes, sir. What about you? Can't talk to you? No? Okay. Seeing if there's anything else going on here. Obviously, I need to go into the castle, but... Okay. They should catch us up with the prologue, where he was talking to Eowyn. There's Gimli and Legolas. So little time has passed since we began this quest. Yeah, this is catching us up to the very beginning, because she's holding the sword. But so much has transpired. I have the strength to fight still, but I sometimes lack the conviction. If you do, you hide it well. Do you think Gollum and Smeagol passed the time in their cave playing I Spy together? I think no, because the Smeagol personality was so dormant during that period that it was sort of like Frodo being kind to him that brought it out for the first time in a really long time. But I do not have enough strength for every soldier. Your men fight by your side because they see your strength, Aragorn. They will not part with you. This almost sounds like she's trying to convince him not to go through the paths of the dead, although that would be later on. But that's sort of like the idea here, I think. Thank you, Eowyn. I must speak with your uncle now. Be safe. I will. Ooh. Aragorn, orcs from Isengard, approaching from the east. Hurry. Hurry, Eowyn. Take your sword and go to your people. Alright, we should probably save it. And follow Legolas. The orcs are making their assault using ladders. Orcs and ladders. Legolas, Gimli, we must keep them from ascending the Deeping Wall. Best girl Eowyn, best girl Luthien. You think Eowyn was bad? Oh man, Luthien, she did some really bad stuff. She put the devil to sleep at one point, including all of his court. All the orcs and trolls and dragons and Balrogs, they all fell asleep to her song. You got to be there for the play when we perform it. You're going to love it, Sarah.
I spy with my filthy little eyes. Something beginning with horses. Gollum.
I've chopped nothing but wood these past few days. Let me at them. Alright. Well, at least I have these two with me now. Whoa. I just got some Dunlendings. Can I knock the ladders down? Yes, I can. I can just straight up destroy them, actually. Oh, Sarah, thank you for the 100 bits. Choppa, choppa, choppa. Indeed. Thank you for the bits, Sarah. Oh, that actually hurt me. Oh no! This is a bad situation. Alright. I can't get surrounded here. Although I don't like the HUD being in the way like that. Where is Gimli and Legolas? Gotta break the ladders. And I'm dead. Okay. Was it amazing, or was I amazing? Perhaps we'll find out someday. Alright, so let's do that again, except do better. I'm not sure where Gimli and Legolas went off to. I should leave the Kingfoil herbs there if I'm not taking them. Bad situation. How do they keep getting behind me? Because of these ladders. Alright. Alright, it's gone from Diablo to Gauntlet. I don't know if you guys ever played Gauntlet back in the day, but... Oh no, you're right about Kingdom Hearts, though. Oh! I don't know why that keeps... I'm trying to heal here, and I'm dead. Did I, like, move off of the healing ability? They're actually... No, I'm on the healing ability now, at least. They're actually very useful when they're on the screen, but they kept going, like, off the screen. Maybe I should just stay close to them, so that they don't wander off too much. Yeah, although overall, I think this is a better game. I don't know. Whoa. Hey, Gimli with the assist. Solarates? Oh, I'm not sure what hit me there, but alright. Oh, they're shoes. 1 melee armor, 3 defense. You know what? I will use that. You mentioned Gauntlet earlier, yeah. It's definitely become a little bit like Gauntlet. I know you've played Gauntlet. I mean more like the YouTube side. I keep just getting hit by random things. And I don't know what they're coming from, but... Alright, that's the beginning. Which Gauntlet was Clint playing? Alright, I'm gonna save it here. Oh, the NES one? Not a great one. Not my favorite way to play Gauntlet. Gauntlet Legends was a great one, and Dark. There was one that was called something along the lines of Dark Legacy. That one was really good too. These Dunlendings are persistent, waiting to be able to heal. Oh, it's just a flesh wound, he said. All right, that's the end of it. Level, it looks like. Alright, so it looks like I'll just have to keep kind of going back and forth, taking down the ladders and... Whoa, why am I just... I'm not controlling this. What is happening? Oh, okay. Outer Gordon, orcs have breached the wall further south. Go, Gimli, I'll follow, and so will these Dunlendings, apparently. Is he talking about going down this way? Yes, he is. Okay. It is rough to come back to. I mean, I played it a while back on here, and you can see them in my live tab, and it's fun, but this is way more fun. Yeah, Gauntlet NES was very rough. Alright, I'm not sure what happened there. I went down there, and it showed me a picture. Oh, here we are. I guess that was the transition. Waiting to be able to heal here. About more than halfway to a level, though. You kept trying to play Phazanadu, but you hadn't learned to read yet, so you didn't get far. Phazanadu is really rough if you don't know what you're doing in it. The very first time that I played Phazanadu is a rental, and I didn't know, and we didn't have the manual, I couldn't figure anything out, didn't get very far. Now that I know how to play it, love that game. It's a great game. Waves upon waves of Saruman's orcs. Be sturdy, Gimli, as if he needs to be told to be sturdy. Hold them off as long as you have strength. Oh, over here? Okay. Oh, they're coming out of the... Oh, crack in the wall. That makes perfect sense. I streamed it not, like, very super long ago. Were you there for that? For Phazanadu? Getting good chunks of experience for these guys. I just want to see if there's anything... Oh, yeah, there are. See if there's any reason to go in this direction. There's a heal thing there. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I would highly recommend... You know, you might want it with a map and a guide. Maybe you'd have more fun, but... yeah, back in the day when I didn't know what I was doing and it was just a rental, I didn't like Phazanadu. Of course, I didn't even know how to pronounce it. We were calling it Faxanadu. It's an unusual enemy. It was an old yellow song. This was referring to an NES port of an old PC game that was called Xanadu. So they called it Phazanadu, as in Famicom Xanadu. I might hit that healing fountain. Close to leveling, but... Now, I don't know if that ever replenishes. It might after some time, I don't know. But yes, it is also an old ELO song, and a movie that ELO did part of the soundtrack for, so, with Olivia Newton-John. Alright. You're just making a bad joke? Well, many a truth is said in jest, as they say. Gimli just literally vanished. You saw that? He was fighting that guy. He was on the other side of that guy, and then he just vanished. You like ELO? Nice. I have a very wide and eclectic taste in music, but I do like ELO. Careful. It's a heck of a weapon. It's like a polearm, but he's swinging it. Ooh. I don't know if that thing will have replenished. No, alright. I don't know where Gimli went. Gimli disappeared in front of our very eyes. Oh boy. Okay. Oh, he got me. He was throwing stuff. Alright. We'll try. Well, hold on. I'll just go back to my last save, actually. Because I was close to it. We'll see if Gimli vanishes again. He just, like, literally just disappeared. Yeah, I must go. My planet needs me. I thought dwarves were from Arda. The movie was ridiculous. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Yeah, he just vanished again. He might be scripted to disappear after a certain amount of time. Aragorn didn't actually do this much fighting at Helm's Deep. You know, hey Terraglaive, how's it going? He didn't do that much fighting at Helm's Deep. He mostly sat with Theoden and babysat him until, oh, here's Legolas. Aragorn, orcs have broken through the Hornburg. They're headed for the caves. Gimli and Legolas were doing most of the fighting. Eowyn is there with the refugees. Legolas, stay here with Gimli. Guard the breach with your... Well, Gimli vanished, so we don't know what happened to him. Aye, Aragorn, you need not ask. Except I just did. Wait, so where am I supposed to go? To Aglarond, obviously. Oh, this way? Okay. Very close to a level up. Alright. This doesn't look like Aglarond. Actually, I guess, yeah. He was just mentioning that's where Eowyn was. He should be falling back into the courtyard. Who is that? Who is this? This guy with fantastic armor just joined me. Maybe it's Éomer? Although this is based on the movie, and Éomer didn't appear at Helm's Deep until he sort of took up Erkenbrand's position. That could be Gamling. Or it could very well be Theoden. Oh, you're thinking of the 30? I'll be doing the 30. I'm trying to do all the Tolkien games, so I'll certainly play the Third Age. Yeah, this is the Two Towers, based on the film, and it's really good on Game Boy. I played the PlayStation 2 version as well a few months ago, and that's good. A little bit rough to come back to, but it's still a good game. But this is really good. It's more of a Diablo-like. But I found out there's actually a Fellowship of the Ring game for Game Boy that if I'd known about it, I would have played that first. That one's based on the book. We're gonna have to check that out. Alright, I was like waiting to be able to heal. Oh. I don't know who this character is supposed to be. I think it might be... I think it's supposed to be Gamling. I understand. I understand. Oh, it's one of these. All right. Anything beyond here? That almost looks like the Pass of the Dead, to be honest. But that's at a different part of Rohan. More Orcses.
Orcses and goblins.
I haven't found new equipment in so long. Alright, I don't know what the game wants me to do. Let me see if we can get a heading here. Alright, it wants me to go this way. I just walk off the screen then. Game's like, go left. Left. Okay. Down across the water? There must be a bridge or something somewhere. Yeah, I can't get across the stream, so... Oh, we leveled up. Okay, hold on. I am gonna... Once again, I'm gonna... go here. I'm gonna put the into that. And let's see, we'll go a little bit with strength and accuracy this time, I think. I'm not sure if there was a DOS version, but it wasn't Windows only. There was like a PlayStation version as well. Oh, it looks like I could cross here. Yeah, I don't know who that's supposed to be. Gimli vanished before our eyes. He just poofed into nothingness. Legolas was with me for a little while, and now there's this guy. You think it might be representing Gamling? Well, it's possible that that might be Theoden. Certainly has the Rohan armor. Oh boy. Anything up this way? There's a healing pool over there. Okay. Careful. I'm gonna get killed by this orc. Alright, we got it. Does it want me to walk off the screen? Yes, it does. But I want to clear out the rest of the enemies and maybe visit that healing pool I saw. There we go. Nothing there. Just the healing pool and the orcs. Alright, that's fine. We know where to go. But my guess is the whole part after Edoras, they kind of like glossed over the scene in the movie where Aragorn falls off the cliff, and that's why he was so far to the northwest. Watch the Crabine. Alright, the rain stopped. Am I just like working my way outside the castle? Like where am I exactly right now? Yeah, okay. I'm going down the Coombe, which seems weird. Aragorn should be moving further into the castle, not further out of the Coombe like this. I don't know why. I guess I'm heading towards Aglaron, but that would be behind the castle. Yeah, there was a PlayStation version of the Eye of Sauron's on screen again. There was a PlayStation version. I remember seeing it. I don't know. Never played it or anything. Miners, Dwarven Estoc. Hold on. We're finding some interesting things here. Gotta clear up some inventory, though. Fine scale mail. I mean, I've been using scale mail for a while. With +8 melee armor and +8 missile armor. This is +9 melee. That's definitely better. Okay, we finally found a little bit better armor. I don't need that saber. Crabine! Crabine out of Dunland. Oh. Yeah, this doesn't seem to follow the book or the movie, this section, because we're heading away from the Hornburg. What is that? Hold on, that looked... What did I get? That weapon? Moonrune Pure White Flambard. 8 to 16 damage, plus 3 fire, 2-handed, plus 1 accuracy, plus 4 courage, plus 1 spirit regen. That's way better. I'm using that weapon now. Alright, very cool. I've never played a Warcraft either. Oh, this dangerous red orc is stuck on the scenery, huh? Heavy cloak. Wait, would I need a heavy cloak? I'm gonna see how good the heavy cloak is. Oh, no, I don't. Hello. I don't need that. Crabine are a specific type of bird that is native. They're crows. They're a specific type of crow that is native to Dunland. That's all it is. +1 melee armor. I say +1 missile and 3 defense. This gives me 2 defense, but also 3 courage. I think I'll stick to what I have. You thought it was crap? Well, the way that Sean Bean says it, and he's sort of yelling, you know, I can understand why you thought he said crab-eye out of Dunland. You know, he's sort of screaming, and it's a hectic scene. But he's saying crabine. Oh, God. Awful. Hopefully that extra spirit regen is going to help me here. Woodsman's shoes. Elven cloak. I'm getting some interesting drops here. +1 melee armor, +1 missile armor, +2 accuracy, +2 defense, +5 speed. You know what? Yeah, we're going to go with that. And the shoes. Woodsman shoes. What am I wearing right now? I got those Solarates. It's just 1 melee armor, 3 defense. 1 defense, +5% speed. I think I'll stick to what I have. Alright, the Eye of Sauron icon has gotten smaller. No. The ward pack here. Alright. And they dropped me some nice Ethelis, which I couldn't pick up. It was too close to the end of the screen. Okay, I'm definitely in Oglarond. This is definitely Oglarond. Let me see on the map. Glittering Caves, yeah. So that must be representing the back of the... Oh, I see. Yeah. This is behind the Hornburg. All right. So that means he did approach from the front. Although, well, from the north. Okay. So we've reached Oglarond. We didn't get to see it in the movie, did we? I'm trying to remember. Did we get to see Oglarond in the movie? It looks exactly like Gimli described it in the book. All that glitters is golden. Do you know where that phrase actually comes from, Moogle? I mean, Tolkien used it, obviously. And when Led Zeppelin used it, they were quoting Tolkien, but do you know where it comes from? It's older than Tolkien. They were spying crows, so they heard the word "I" in their name. Oh, you know what? It's not a bad surmise, but yeah, they're just a specific breed of crow. They're not specifically evil, but they are being used as spies of Saruman. Radagast taught Saruman how to speak to birds because he thought it was going to help him, but it didn't. No, it's not as old as the Bible. It came from Shakespeare. Although Shakespeare didn't say glitter, he said glisten. All that is gold does not glisten. Tolkien changed it to glitter. All that is gold does not glitter. Not all who wander are lost. There shouldn't be orcs in Aglarond, so I can understand why Aragorn needs to be here, because the orcs getting this far into Aglarond would be kind of the nightmare doomsday scenario for Rohan. By the way, Aglarond is what Numenor called this region. It means glittering caves, and actually the whole valley, the castle and everything was all called Aglarond at one point. When the land was ceded to the Eotheod, which became the Rohirrim, and it became Rohan, they started calling the area the Deeping Combe, and the castle, they called it the Soothburg. Later, after Helm Hammerhand, they changed it to Hornburg after his horn, and they called the surrounding area Helm's Deep. I might want to pick up that in case I ever use a shield again. Isildur's Goblin Mansword Rapier? Wait, what? That's a lot of adjectives. Isildur's Goblin Mansword Rapier. Why would Isildur have something, and it's also described as being Goblin Man? It's a one-handed weapon. It's less damage than I'm using. High accuracy and crit rate, but I'm going to hang on to it. It seems like that might have been just... That's a lot of adjectives right there. I actually like the two-handed sword, but... Whoa. This is pretty much what Gimli described Aglarond as looking like, though. And this area, after the War of the Ring, the dwarves actually settled in here. Gimli founded a colony of dwarves in Aglarond. Dark adamantite backsword. I'm finding a lot of weapons right now. Dark adamantite backsword. It's definitely... Ooh, that is terrible. It lowers your defense and your purity. I'm just going to drop that right now. You think Isildur specifically used it when he's fencing goblin men? I suppose so. Although I don't think goblin men were around during... Well, they could have been. Just not as a whole lot of them during his Isildur's time. In fencing competitions that Middle-earth definitely had. Yeah. Middle-earth had wrestling, so why not, right? I'm assuming it was Olympic-style wrestling, not like, you know, professional wrestling. But they did have wrestling. In the Shire, they had wrestling. And in Gondor, come to think of it. Now, I'm getting to the point where these red guys are not as scary. Another one of those adamantite dark short swords. I definitely would not want to use a weapon like that. Okay. I don't know how he got up there. There we go. Oh god. Run away, run away. Shoot. I didn't mean literally shoot at me. I meant shirt. Ooh, I'll take that. Okay. All right. Trade gems for unknown item. Let's see what I get. Adventurer's... What do I get? A random brooch? Not great. Do one more. And ring mail that I don't need. Alright, let's... I was reading that. I did upgrade my whetstone at least. Where did that red guy go? I don't think I... Oh, there he is. Modeled fine backsword. Probably not nearly as good as what I have. Nah, it's not great. Actually, I could still read it on the blended chat. Well, Gandalf's big on pyrotechnics, right? Wait, which direction does it want me to go? Alright, so let's not go that way yet. Why go the right way when you can go all the wrong ways first? Actually, this might be like kind of like where I first came in, maybe? I don't know. Doesn't seem to be enemies around here. Whoa, 2 of them. Bad news bears. We'll bottleneck them right here, and oh god! Oh! Float like a Maya, sting like a Dumbledore. And I'm referring to Bilbo's poem, not to Harry Potter. I haven't saved it in a while. Actually, let's also make like a real save, too. I haven't done that at all today. There we go. Oh, here's Eowyn. Eowyn, it seems there were a few too many orcs for you to manage out there. Are you hurt? Forget me, Aragorn. Some of my people are ill and need help. Oh, yeah, suddenly Gandalf! Aragorn, the enemy has been driven back momentarily. Now is our chance for final assault. Gimli has already tossed himself into battle against the siege weapons. Hurry, tossed himself. It said that you, retracted the message. But don't worry, I did read it. Tend to your people, Eowyn. We will return. Alright, now we've sort of resumed from the movie. That was a nice little thing. Getting to see Aglarond was very cool, because they didn't show Aglarond in the film. Alright. Legolas, like, they're going in different directions. Oh. Yes, Dumbledore is, it means bumblebee, and it came from, in the sense that I used it, there's a poem that Bilbo wrote called Errantry, Joe, which I have here in The Adventures of Tom Bombadil. And it's in an iambic pentameter, so you could sing it if you wanted to. But here it is. There was a merry passenger, a messenger, a mariner. He built a gilded gondola to wander in, and had in her a load of yellow oranges and porridge for his provender, and perfumed her with marjoram and cardamom and lavender. He called the winds of Argosies with cargoes in to carry him across the river 17 that lay between to tarry him. He landed in all in loneliness with stonily the pebbles on, the running river Darrelin goes merry forever on. He journeyed then through meadowlands to Shadowland that dreary day, and under hill and over hill went roving still a weary way. He sat and sang a melody, his errantry a-tarrying. He begged a pretty butterfly that fluttered by to marry him. She scorned him and she scoffed at him. She laughed at him unpitying, as long as he studied wizardry and sigildry and smithying. He wove a tissue airy thin to snare her in, to follow her. He made him beetle leather wing and feather wing of swallow hair. He caught her in bewilderment with filament of spider thread. He made her soft pavilions of lilies and a bridal bed of flowers and of thistledown, to nestle down and rest her in, and silken webs of filmy white and silver light he dressed her in. He threaded gems and necklaces, but recklessly she squandered them, and fell to bitter quarrelling, and sorrowing he wandered on, and there he left her withering, a shivering, and fled away, with windy weather following, on swallow wing he sped away. He passed the archipelagos, where yellow grows the marigold, where countless silver fountains are, and mountains are of fairy gold. He took to war and foraying, a harrying beyond the sea, and roaming over Belmarie and Thelemy and Fantasy. He made a shield in Morion of coral and of ivory, a sword he made of emerald, and terrible his rivalry with elven kings of Aerie and Fairy and paladins, that golden-haired and shining-eyed came riding by and challenged him. Of crystal was his habergeon, his scabbardry of chacaldony, With silver-tipped Plelinu, his spear was hewn of ebony, his javelins were of malachite and stalactite, he brandished them, and went and fought the dragonflies of paradise, and vanquished them. He battled with the Dumbledores, the Humblehorns, the honeybees, and won the golden honeycomb, and running home on sunny seas, in ship of leaves and gossamer, with blossom for a canopy, he sat and sang, and furbished up and burnished up his panoply. He tarried for a little while in little isles and lonely lay, and found there naught but blowing grass, and so at last the only way he took and turned, and coming home with honeycomb to memory, his message came in Derrentu, and Derringdo, and Glamoury. He had forgotten journeying and tourneying of wanderer, so now he must depart again and start again his gondola, forever still a messenger, a passenger, a tarrier, a roving as a feather does a weather-driven mariner. So that's errantry. It's a poem that Bilbo wrote, and I've always believed that when he first stayed in Rivendell during The Hobbit, the elves there told him lots of stories, and one of those stories may have been the Lay of Leithian, the Tale of Tenuviel. And I don't think he took it seriously. I think he assumed that it was sort of just this elvish fairy tale, and that he wrote this tale as sort of a hobbitish version of it. It's a wonderful little poem, isn't it? If you're interested in Tolkien's poetry, obviously The Adventures of Tom Bombadil is really grand, but I have all of his poetry here. I have this. Hold on, let me show it to you. I think you'd appreciate this if you like his poetry, which I like his poetry quite a bit. Let me go to here. So I have this. This is the collected poems of J.R.R. Tolkien. This is the first. Oh, this is not the first. This is the third one. There's three of them. Here's the other two. The first one is from 1919 to 1931. That's this one. And then we have... Oh, that's the second one. 1910 to 1919. Then 1919 to 1931. And then finally, this last one is 1931 to 1967. All of his poems are in there. And what's really cool about this version, which Christina Scull and Wayne G. Hammond put out, they put out a lot of things, is that not only do you get all of his poems, many of which were never seen before, but also you get every version of every poem, which is really cool. Because sometimes we only get like sort of the final version, instead of it being, you get to see all the versions where he sort of works through the different rhymes and schemes. All right, I'm a little lost here. Where are we going? All right, the game's not telling. I shall wander, and I shall tarry, and read a poem, and then parry. This Uruk-hai of great malice, I'll use his skull as a chalice. That was not bad, actually. Wizard's soldier sword. Let's see if that's any good. Where is that? Not really. I mean, it's good, but it's not as good as the one I have. I don't know if I'm supposed to be breaking these ballistas that I see, but I assume so. Oh! I mean, what I did was not exactly iambic pentameter, but... Oh. A red guy with a crossbow. Oh no. Oh no! Oh! Terrible. Okay, let's try that again. The red Uruk-hai with a crossbow. That's a frightening prospect. There's another one right here. The good thing about enemies with crossbows is they can't exactly defend themselves all that well. So when I see these guys, I gotta make them a pretty high priority. Wow, I don't know where Legolas and Gandalf went, but I could sure use their help right about now. Burglar's cheap Solarates. Hold on. I think I want to grab that. +1 melee armor, +1 accuracy, +3 defense. That's +3. Yeah, it's objectively better. Numenorian heavy cloak. 1 melee, 1 missile, 1 strength, 3 defense. Not as good. I don't know if he would be able to do those times. I don't think he thought he definitely knew of melodies, and many of his songs in his books were meant to be to specific melodies. And he was a great admirer of a lot of opera and classical music. But I think he was a lyricist. He focused on meter and rhyme more than melody and harmony and time signature. Alright. I'm assuming that I'm heading to the right. But the game isn't actually telling me right now. Check my objective. Oh, that's not the button. Check my objectives. Because we're back here. Charge the front lines and destroy the Uruk-hai siege engine. Okay, so I am supposed to be breaking these ballistas that I see. So that's good that I've been doing it. Oh, here's Gandalf. Got it. I want to look at that amulet, but... Sunstone amulet. Right now the amulet I have is a jeweled amulet. It's strength, accuracy, defense, and extra shield block. Let's see what this... I haven't gotten a good amulet in a while. There's also a necklace there. 5 melee armor? 1 hit point regen. I'm using that. That's great. Razor. I didn't really want the kite shield. I was trying to get the Lembus, but then again, I'm almost at full health. Whoa. I probably just have to find all of the siege engines. Oh, here's one right here. Gotta be careful, this is where I got killed before. That's pretty broken. I'm not using that anytime soon. Ugh. Come here, come here. Got it. No, actually, no. I mean, it started around Weathertop and then going towards Moria and had a lot. It really this game's it really cool because I'm only playing one campaign. Like I'm playing the Aragorn campaign. Well, there's a whole bunch of other ones to play too. So like. It definitely doesn't rush through Fellowship, even though it's based on Two Towers. There's a bunch of Fellowship stuff. There is a separate Fellowship game that's not based on the films, but like because I'm playing the Aragorn campaign, there's like a Frodo campaign, and there's an Eowyn campaign, and there's a Gandalf campaign. Yeah, I plan on playing that. I'll probably do that one next. Ah, there's another siege engine. All right. Yeah, I've been enjoying it. The previous parts of this should be available on my live tab. You know, they should all be available without having to be a member at this point. It's been a while. All right, I don't know if there's any other siege engines, but Gandalf and Legolas are really just kind of randomly standing around, aren't they? But yeah, this game's actually really good. I'm very close to a level up as well. It's gonna really comb the whole region by going zigzagging up and down. There's Gandalf. Nope, don't do that. Okay. Gandalf the White. Like I must have missed something somewhere. There's Legolas. Maybe once they're all gone, I go back into the castle? Oh wait, maybe this one's not completely dead? Okay, there it is. Alright, it just made a noise, so I didn't kill that one completely. That's not the screen we want. Check my objectives now. It still says the same thing, but I feel like I might be done. Maybe I should go find Gandalf. Well, here we go. This battle has one more front yet. Okay, so that's Theoden there. So that guy earlier, that wasn't Theoden that was fighting with me. I have to assume that must have been Gamling. Aragorn, fetch the others. We are headed to Isengard. Aye, Gandalf, we are well on our way. Be vigilant. Saruman's army may be diminished, but his cunning is not. Is there no time for a moment's rest in this world? Not while Saruman lives, Gimli. Oh. Seeing the movie scenes on a Game Boy, kinda crazy that they managed to do that. That might be the end of Aragorn's... Yeah, that might be the end of Aragorn's story. It's prompting me to save at least. Yeah, that was the end of Aragorn's story. But there's a whole bunch of other ones. Very cool so far. Very, very cool. From Kryptonite Games. I wonder what else they've made. Let's look into that. I'm going to look into Kryptonite Games here. Alright, here we are. It appears they mostly made licensed games. Like they did Shinobi, that's not licensed, but Kung Fu Panda 2, Captain America, Green Lantern, yeah, mostly licensed stuff, Iron Man 2. The Simpsons game, the DS version at least. Almost all of their games are licensed from films. Alright. Alright, very cool. Let's start a new one. So here we have, I'll show you all of them now. We have Aragorn, we just played through that one. It took us 3 playthroughs. Three nights of streaming to do it. But there's a Gandalf, a Frodo, a Legolas, Eowyn. So let's do Gandalf. They made that. Yeah, they made that. That's why you would have recognized it. Gandalf the Grey is well known as a master of arcane magic and wielder of the Flame of Anor. I wonder how different playing as Gandalf will be. Curse these evil times, Gandalf. The last days in my house are near. This is Saruman's doing, Theoden, not yours. His rage is potent, yes, but you cannot defeat him. But our strength is gone. My best soldiers have gone with my nephew Éomer. True, their faith in you was diminishing, but there is still time to set it right. The throne has been restored. Okay, so this is, we know where we are in the story. Éomer being sent off like that, not from the book. I mean, they wanted a reason for him to just dramatically come back at Helm's Deep, but in the book, he was already there at Helm's Deep. He was already helping Theoden. It was Erkenbrand that was dramatically coming back. What is my opinion of that super weird Final Fantasy X ripoff Lord of the... Oh, the Third Age. I haven't played it. I'd love to play it one day. I didn't play a lot of the Tolkien games back in the day because I got burned on the Super NES one, but I plan on playing that. I've been told by people that I know and trust their opinions that I would enjoy it. Yes, your coming signals a change. Was it lack of fortune that led you to my hall? Perhaps a little of both. So it introduces him as Gandalf the Grey, but now he's... Okay, so they're doing the framing device that they did with Aragorn, because we're now... This is obviously before Moria. He's Gandalf the Grey. I see Frodo and Aragorn and Gimli with me. After long counsel with Elrond, our party set out eastward from Rivendell. Why would they set out eastward? Wait a minute. No. 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 Southward out of Rivendell, not eastward. In no version of The Lord of the Rings did they head east out of Rivendell. That would take them to the Misty Mountains, to eventually to the major pass there, and to Mirkwood. I mean, no, south. They went south towards Eregion. In my heart I knew some danger awaited me, but I knew not what shape it would take. Alright, so here we are. Let's check it out here. So, I have a short sword. Apparently he left Glamdring at home. I don't know where Glamdring went. Cloth shirt, and a short staff. Alright, so he's dual welding. No Glamdring. Alright, let's see what kind of abilities we have here. Alright, so he's a healing ability. That's good. That's probably what I'll use. What are his passives? Illusion reduces corruption. Inspire, spirit recharge. We'll want to get that. Flame of Honor. When hit points reach 0, Gandalf has a 20% chance of reviving. Wisdom. All damaging spells do. Alright. I probably won't use a lot of spells, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah. Well, I mean, most of his... He's in courage and, and health. Alright. Okay. An orc stole Glamdring earlier, now you have to find it as a drop. Probably, right? Now I wonder if he could equip things like that leather jacket. That's plus 2 melee, plus... It's 2 melee, 2 missile. This is 4 melee, 4 missile, so that's better. I already found better armor. Okay. I mean, it even looks like we're heading south. You don't head east out of Rivendell if you're in the Lord of the Rings. That's the Hobbit. So we've sort of reset everything. You know, we're level 1 again and everything. But yeah, that was the end. See, like I said, it has multiple playthroughs. All right, I was just seeing if I can get up there somehow. It's more like Gandalf the Periwinkle, huh? Or maybe lavender. It's a sort of a lavender color. These Crebain are agents of Saruman. We cannot let them escape. Oh. That's going to put the Sauron meter up. Yep, see? Because that Crebain got away. Ah, I was too far away for the explosion to hit me. Alright, we leveled up. I'm gonna put it into the heal. Because it's so important to be able to heal yourself. I'll put it into health, strength, accuracy. Alright. Mushrooms. Makes sense for it to be snowing, because if we just left Rivendell, it's just after Christmas. They left on Christmas Day, so... His reach is not as much as Aragorn's, I'm noticing. I want to see where it's directing me to. Okay, thought so. Ooh. Yeah, see, we're back in Fellowship now. Post Council of Elrond. I wonder if it would go all the way back to as far as the Shire, you know, when you play as Frodo. I guess we'll find out when we do the Frodo playthrough. Australian Christmas, the sun would be... Yo, yeah, it's true. Well, if we think about where Rivendell is geographically... They're roughly in Germany. Now he does have a caps. Okay. He just automatically equipped it. Okay. So they'll open more. The other slots will open up as I pick up more equipment. Let's see if that hood's better than the cat. So that's 4 critical armor, 2 critical armor. No. Get back, Hound of Sauron! Oh, I gotta level up his heal. It doesn't heal very much right now. We're back here. Okay. I wonder what it's like in Australia when you hear like the very European and American Christmas carols all talking about snow and everything, and you're like, no, that doesn't happen here. There's a cape. Let's see about that cape, actually. Oh, you already equipped it. All right, yeah. Coke used to run Christmas campaigns in Australia, Santa in shorts and a t-shirt drinking ice cold Coke. That makes perfect sense. You know, the very modernistic depiction of Father Christmas or Santa Claus, you know, in that outfit, that very specific, that actually was engineered by the Coca-Cola Corporation. Depictions of Santa before that. I mean, sometimes he was in red, but that exact sort of like red tunic with the hat and everything. Once again, we keep seeing these giant heads. It makes me think that in this part of the world, would they really be here? I mean, I guess we're sort of heading towards Eregion, so this could be a statue of like Celebrimbor, you know, but the elves didn't really make, well, they did make statues, but that big, that's more of a mortal sort of thing. I find most Christmas music to be irritating, but I think it's only because I think Christmas is irritating. I think. Well, it's stressful, is what it is. Alright, I leveled up again, so. But I was also thinking I might want to... I don't know if I want to be using those kind of spells, but... put it into Inspire. Oh, it didn't go. Oh, I have to do Illusion first? Oh, no, I just have to be level 5. Alright, in that case, I'll put it into that. I forgot, I was so used to being a high level as Aragorn, I forgot there's some things you have to be specific levels for. And then this tiny little arch. Yeah, we're definitely coming up to the ruins of Holland, or Eregion is what the elves called it. Which we did this as Aragorn, but now it's a little different as Gandalf, though. Which means we'll have to go through Moria again, except he's not going to make it all the way through. Gandalf has 165 Skittles. Do you know that I learned, Moogle, that when it comes to Skittles, a single piece of the candy is referred to as a Skittles. Did you know that? How do I get up there? And I learned it in the most ridiculous... I mean, it makes sense because Skittles with an S like that is trademarked. And the singular Skittle is not. So they would always refer to it as a Skittles. But I learned it in the most ridiculous way possible. There was an action RPG game on the GameCube that was called Darkened Sky that is basically a big advertisement for Skittles, even though it's a fantasy RPG action game. And she refers to it as a Skittles. Well, Christmas spirit's great, but when you have, you know, family drama and all sorts of things, it can just be a very stressful time. All music can be commercial. That doesn't... I don't think there's any specific type of music that's always commercial, though. Oop. They keep coming from over here. I thought I cleared this area pretty well. I see. Is there like a... Yeah, a whole bunch of orcs up here. So for me, like, Christmas is a time that's, like, very expensive and annoying. 4 melee, 4 missile. It's exactly the same thing I'm using. And, you know, I enjoy it for the younger members of my family, like for my nephews and such, right? But I also have to wind up dealing with certain family elements that I don't enjoy dealing with. People that can't just, you know, come and visit and have a meal with you and catch up and then just, that's it, you know, they have to make everything about them and be dramatic and, you know, everything. It happens almost every year. Vile magic has brought this mountain down upon us. I must find another way. So I suppose this was Carathras. Alright, so which direction does the game want me to go now? That way, alright. I think that's a mana pool, but... Whoop. Yeah. I talk about it more freely on Twitch streams, but, you know, there's certain... Like I said, there's certain family elements that are very stressful to deal with. And when you're somebody like me that often suffers from things like migraines and, you know, it could be rough. And you're just happy that it's over. And like I said, it's an expensive time of year as well. There we go. Okay. Actually, maybe I want that. I already have a cape. Got some shoes. Although he did not equip the shoes. Did I not pick the shoes up? I didn't. Now I have. Now he's equipped them. Okay. Let me see what the arrow's doing now. Okay, yeah. Now I kind of want M&Ms. Not so much Skittles, but M&Ms. If I'm gonna taste the rainbow, they're gonna have chocolate inside. Let me just... I think this is looping back. Oh, it's just generally telling me to go left now, which is strange. I could have just left that sitting there, but alright. Whoa! For the landslide, I'll bring you down. Another... We're not going that way. I've been afraid of changing. 'cause I built my life around you. Yeah, they're a little... Wild berry Skittles are still good, but I don't know, they stick to your teeth, and they're just like way too sweet. Give me the dark chocolate coffee flavored M&Ms. That's where it's at. I actually don't have that much of a sweet tooth. Chocolate is like the weakness, but I don't really have that much of a sweet tooth. All right, so I got a saber. Let me see if that's 2 to... Wait, what was that? 2 to 5? It's worse. It's considerably worse. Let's see if do I want the mantle? I mean, get rid of some of the stuff, I guess. Might be better than the cape. Where is it? Oh, it's okay. 1 missile, 1 defense. Yeah, it's no good. All right. Oh! Let's see. I'll take a skill point. You see, I can't drink anything sugary. I get disgusted by it. I didn't used to be that. I used to drink soda like crazy, but not so much anymore. You haven't had Skittles in a long time, Moogle? Yeah. I don't know. It's not my thing. Oh, okay, we got to the other side of that. Definitely M&Ms. That's where it's at. But when it comes to snacking, I like savory stuff. I like salty stuff, you know. I'd rather make nachos for myself than eat a bunch of candy, you know. Let's see. Just want to see what my heading is right now. Let me just see about, like, if I'm correct about where we are. It just says, okay, Carathras Valley, yeah. Okay, I see. It's weird that it appears to have us going, you know, to the left like that, when really we would be trying to get to the east. But I've established that the map is not, the cardinal directions are all sorts of messed up. Oh, I can. I could call thunder. I'm just preferring to keep my magic for healing, because otherwise healing is pretty limited. But yeah, he has a few spells that you could use. Like, I mean, it looks like to actually do lightning, I would have to be level 10. But you could do fireworks at level 5. I could do zap at level 2. I could do zap right now, but I haven't put anything into it. I think I'm gonna just stick to mostly melee, like Gandalf usually does, and use healing. Ooh, it's happening again. Oh, the landslide'll bring you down. I don't think we're going this way. I see a box there, though. Landslide'll bring you down. He has a level up. Wait, so what level am I right now? Level 4, okay. Gandalf getting confused for Santa by Rudolph? I don't think he would be very happy about that. I'm gonna... Here, I'll put a point into Zap, and we'll try it out. See what it's like. Oh, no, that's not how you Zap. I like that the healing icon for him is a Caduceus, but here's Zap. We'll have to try that out on an enemy and see what it feels like. Not bad. Boulders can't stop Gandalf? Wow. They could if they landed on his head. Maybe the hat protects him. I think you'd have to power this up quite a bit for it to be very useful. Whoa! Yeah, I think I'll stick to smacking things with the sword and the... You could probably talk to Rudolph to clear things up pretty swift. I think that if he was in that Rankin Bass special... Oh, I don't need to come in here to change spells. He would be pretty upset with Santa. He would say, "You fool! You've treated this young fellow rather shabbily, and now that you need him, suddenly you're nice. Well, I must say I'm quite disgusted by this turn of events." Whoa. What? Why does this look like tire tracks here? Like somebody skidded here? Like, what happened here? You think they would have sent him back as the White if he died by boulder to the head instead of epic battle? Probably not, because it was the sacrifice not just of his life, but of the quest itself. Sid talks about this rather well, is that Gandalf really believes that the quest will fail without him. And so, by choosing to abandon the quest, in that sense, he is putting his faith in Aragorn. And, taking a very powerful piece off the board, so... Although I do have to say that would put things in a rather poor place due to the fact that the whole point of him coming back as the White was specifically to replace Saruman. I think this is just the remnants of a road. Just weird that it looks like tire tracks. Oh, wrong button. We should end soon, though. Whoa. This guy is aggressively blue. Takes a lot of zapping to... Oh boy. I am surrounded now. This guy, he's not a boss because he doesn't have a life meter, but... His leather jacket had chains that would jingle. They both met movie stars, partied and mingled. Isaiah and our man said we don't hear a single... Come here. Why is this guy... running? It's like how the orcs behave after the ring was destroyed. They're just running in circles and losing their minds. How many gems do I have right now? I just picked up a bunch. Not enough to do what I'm thinking. Okay, come here. Ooh. Okay, there we go. Oh, what do we have here? Mantle? Don't need it. Alright, so now... we're at the Gate of Moria. Alright. Or we'll be getting to the Gate of Moria. It's in this area. Oh. I don't know if I want the sandals or not. Let's find out. Can you imagine Gandalf wearing sandals? I mean, I can't even imagine him wearing simple shoes like that. He would wear boots. I'll take the extra speed. I mean, we're playing as Gandalf, might as well load up on the magic, right? A Brigandine, I don't know if he'll wear that, but we could try it, right? So it's 4 melee armor, 4 missile armor. Where's the Brigandine? It's 5 and 5. He will wear it. He will wear it. I mean, in the Fellowship of the Ring game that we had played on PlayStation 2, using Gandalf was really fun because of the spells that you could use. I mostly stuck to the lightning in that. Worked well on the Balrog. It was the only thing that really worked on the Balrog. You found the lake. The orcs are behaving very strangely. No, I didn't mean to do that. Very close to leveling, though. Yeah, during Moria there's a Gandalf segment, because he's the one that fights the Balrog. Like, as a matter of fact, in the lead up to Moria, you play as Gandalf quite a bit. It was very hard in the beginning, and I think that's where people faltered, because escaping the Shire was very hard to do. But once you get past that, it actually becomes a lot more easy, especially when you start playing as Aragorn and he has a bit more tools to work with. But playing as Frodo's a bit of a bummer. The last mission is extremely dark with tons of enemies in a forest as Aragorn. The last mission was fighting the Nazgul at the Seat of Seeing. All I did was park myself behind the seat and fire arrows at him whenever he swooped down. It was actually... it trivialized it. Ah, here we go. Okay. I think once we clear this screen, we'll probably stop, though. Oh, little tiny goblinses. That'd be lunch for Gollum right there.
It's a good snack, sis, it is.
Yeah, the Shire part's really rough. I'm hungry. Do we have any dwarf meat left? I think there's some inside. Get some bits for me. They're not even reacting to me zapping them, which is pretty funny. I think it's because I'm so far away. Okay, what's happening? Oh, there, he's... That guy cottoned on to what was going on. Like, wait a minute. There's not supposed to be lightning. That's not scheduled for today. A choker. What did you have? Did you use a PCSX2, Narva? It's a random horse? It's too big to be Bill the Pony. Well, here we are. What could these words mean, Gandalf? Speak, friend, and enter. It's very simple. If you're a friend, speak the password, and the doors will open. But you could see my whole playthrough of Fellowship of the Ring on my channel as well in the live tab. Actually, there's a whole playlist of it. It's very good emulator. Yeah, I used it as well. Do you know the password? Anon Ethelyn Edro Hyaman Fennis Noga Thrim Lasto Vethlyman. Wait, Gandalf, it's a riddle. What is the Elvish word for friend? Just stealing Mary's thunder. Melon. Squid time. It makes sense that we just run in, though, because only Sam fought the squid, right? And now we're in Moria, but this is a good spot. I think we'll stop here. It's been fun, but I think that went a lot faster as... here, we'll do it over here. Yeah, is there enough spots for each character? Like Aragorn, Gandalf, Frodo? No, because there's Legolas and Gimli and Eowyn. Alright, well. We don't have to maintain all of them. But anyway, I'll also make one of these. Okay, thank you guys for coming by. Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys. Exactly. Let's come over to here. Actually, before I come over to here, I want to let you guys know that in 2 weeks, we are going to be performing Matt's play. So we're actually going to be over here, and I'm going to have Matt over here, and I'm going to have Laurel over here. I don't know why that's the screen that's showing. I think I have... Oh, there we go. Why are these all hidden? These should all be visible. Okay, so we're going to perform the play. It's going to be a lot of fun. We had our first dress rehearsal a little while ago, and we're going to have another one coming up on the 30th. I think on the 30th we're doing that. Yes. I'm going to go over the schedule now, and actually, but yes, in 2 weeks, next Thursday, there won't be a stream here because I'll be streaming on Twitch. Don't go over there. Go over here. But for those of you watching on YouTube, I will see you guys in 2 weeks, where me and Matt and Laurel are going to be performing this play here that Matt wrote based on Beren and Luthien. I have the script right here. We're going to be performing that for you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. And there will be a produced version that'll have like extra music and visual cues and such that's going to be members only. Also, members will be able to see a lot of behind the scenes stuff, such as rehearsals and outtakes and stuff like that. We had a professional voice actor do the narration. It's going to be really cool. Thank you, Kits. Thank you, Moogle. For those of you watching me on Twitch, you guys know I'll be live tomorrow afternoon playing Dragon Quest II. Saturday night I would be streaming, but I'm not going to be home, so I'm actually taking Saturday night off. But Sunday we'll return to normal streaming with Mega Man, Maverick Hunter X and ZX as well, because we'll finish Maverick Hunter X and we'll play ZX. But anyway, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, the live is going to end. If you're watching on Twitch, we're going to raid somebody. So let's see who I can find that I can raid. But definitely don't miss the play in 2 weeks. Let's see. I see Frogs. I see Scottish Maiden. I see a whole bunch of people, actually. I think I'm going to raid Frogs, though. Yeah, I'm going to raid Frogs, and I'm going to give him a little song lyrics here. Let me just get that. Whoa, okay, don't. That's great. Thank you, Frogs, for that. Let me. What is he doing right now? I had to mute it. Oh, he's playing Resident Evil Requiem. Okay. All right. Yes, we're going to raid Frogs Cure Cancer. I could use the ranch host for that. Oh, that won't work. Most of you guys don't have that emote. Okay. Okay, for those of you on Twitch, copy that, paste it as we head into Frogs Cure Cancer's stream. He's playing Resident Evil Requiem. For those of you on YouTube, thank you for coming by. The live will end now. Here we go. Oh, the ray didn't. I didn't actually put the command in. Hold on. There we go. I'll hit it as soon as I can. Oh, I might as well not do that. I have to wait 10 seconds now. Now it's embarrassing. Now I have to wait 10 seconds. Here we go.